So I have just watched a Sunday sermon by Stephen, and that message is now stuck in my head. And the message says is that what it says is that I have to get up. Now I know there's a lot of traders that have this feeling that to quit forex or trading, but what I'm here to say to you is that you have to get up. I know trading is hard. And I know some of you last year was a difficult year, but what I'm saying is that you have to get up because this year gonna be your year. So that's the message that I just want to 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 spread forward is that you have to get up because it's not the end, it's not the last. This year is gonna be a year of miracles. So that's said, and so I'm gonna do a weekly analysis on gold. I don't want to take much of your time. So as you can see, I'm gonna start on the 4 hour time frame of actually I'm just gonna get clear reference from the weekly time frame. From the weekly time frame. So as we can see, if we have to look on at gold, is that we can clearly see that gold is in a clear uptrend. It's creating higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So, and we also can see that last week we had bearish candle, this bearish candle right there. So we're gonna move down to the daily time frame. We're gonna move down to the daily time frame, and here what I'm going to do is I just want to mark out key zones, significant zones. So we had this push to the upside, and then we had this huge drop on gold, and now gold moved out of, giving us this clear break of structure to the upside. So we had this clear break of structure on the daily time frame. So I'm just gonna mark that out. And what happened last week? Last week this was Friday, Thursday, and Wednesday. As we can see, after this break of structure, so every time you have a clear break of structure, what happens is that price need to retrace to the downside because price can't continue to go up and up without a retracement. So what must go up must come down. That's the science term that I'm going to use for this. Is that we had this clear break of structure to the upside, and then price reach its all-time high, which we're gonna mark out. This is the new all-time high, and then we had a huge drop on gold, and then price was consolidating. So if we also have to, so this was also a significant zone. If you have to just put it in a box right there. So what is currently happening just from the daily time frame is that we can see where this huge drop to the downside, and now price is just rejecting from that zone. So what do we expect? So I'm gonna drop down to the, actually what I'm going to do is that I want to use the line chart to draw out my significant zones. So I'm gonna move down to the 4 hour time frame, and now the significant zones that I'm looking at is that it's just merely a price break and retested that zone. So this is our another significant, so this is our low, our lower low. We had this higher high, higher low. So this is our higher low right after the break of structure. So I'm just gonna mark that out, and then I'm gonna look for where price touched and rejected multiple times. So as we can see, we have this one right there, and then we also have this one right there. So I'm going to just make this I'm going to make them light. Nope, that's too light. I'm gonna make this light, so I just want to separate it. So now I'm gonna switch back to the and increase the size. So we had this break of structure. Now this is our external low. So I'm just gonna mark that out as well. And this is our external high right here. So this is now our current dealing range. We had this push up, and then we had a push down to the downside, and then we had a break of structure right there. Now gold is in a retracement phase, in a pullback phase for a push for continuation to the upside. But before that, we already marked out of our significant zones. As you can see, price rejected from that area, and also rejected there, and also rejected multiple times before it broke out of this significant level. As well as here we had this multiple touch break. If we have to push it, you see it touch there, and then it touch again, and then it pushed to the upside. As here as well, first touch, rejected from there, rejected twice, move to the upside. So as we also know, you can see this area right here, gold price pushed to the downside, also rejected from this area. So what can we expect on gold? So as we can see, we are in a bullish uptrend. So for the coming week, there will be sell opportunities, but most importantly that I want you to focus on is the continuation to the upside. So you will always have to ride the trend. So for now, gold is in a pullback phase. So I advise you not to trade the pullback phase and wait for clear confirmation for price to move to target these external highs rates, because this is a weak high and this is our strong low right there. So I'm gonna move down. I'm gonna move down to the on each time frame, and I also want to mark out key significant levels that we're gonna watch. I'm gonna just change the colors right there and make it yellow for the time being. So this is our lower time frame significant level. So what we're gonna look at is that you can see basically is that for Monday, what I'm going to look on Monday, it depends how price is opening. If price opens up with a gap to the upside, then on Monday we're gonna look for selling opportunities. So I'm gonna tell you where I'm gonna look for my selling opportunities, because that's very important, and where I'm going to look for my buying opportunities for long term gains. So as we also can track this, our tool Fibonacci, I'm just going to look at the 50% level. As you can see, this significant level right here, this significant zone right here is on a 50% level, and it's near a whole number, a round number, which is 4,200. As we also can see, this level right here, the 25, is also near the 4,000 level, and then this level, significant zone, is around 3,900. So all these zones that I drew is near a psychological level. So this is the 50%, so I'm just gonna place it right there, just for reference, to see where is the 50%. So this level right here is a significant level because gold likes to retrace to the 50% level and then move to in the and then give us a continuation to the upside. So if we have to look for this one, we just step into that 50%, move to the upside. I'm going to give you more reference so that you can see. Just step into that 50% and then it moves to the upside. If we have to drag this from there to there, as you can see, just step into the 50% and then it moves in the continuation of the trend. So I'm gonna mark out as we all can see it clearly. So for me, this is a trap. For me, trap, as you can see, this is a clear trend line. So this is our trend line liquidity right here. So two things can happen. Two things can happen on this price. If price opens to the upside, you're gonna see a sell into this key level, and then we're gonna see a rejection to the upside. Now, but you have to wait for clear confirmation, which is you have to wait for price to significantly push to the upside and then retrace, giving us a small intermediate break of structure, and then another retracement, and then you can take your trade in the direction of the overall trend. So I'm just gonna delete that. So price could bounce off this trend line and this significant level and then to the upside. But what also can happen is that we have to be extra careful when it comes to this level right here. So what could happen is that you can see price tap and give us that move, giving us the intention, the idea that is it wants to go to the upside, and then it could break this trend line right there, and then you can see price move to the next significant zone. So what I'm expecting on the coming week is that this is my first line of defense to look for buying opportunities. So this is my first line of defense to look for buying opportunities. Now, if I have to give you the something that can guide you to see if the trend have changed, is that what you can do is that you can just follow this trend line. I'm going to show you right now. You can just follow this trend line. I'm going to clone it, and then I'm going to go back to the 4-hour time frame. As we can see, it's giving us this descending channel. So you can see price hopefully move to the upside, then it reject from that trend line, bounce into this area right there. So then you can look, if you have a clear break of structure out of this trend line, this is gonna be our liquidity trend line for price to target this liquidity resting above this area. So you're gonna wait for price to push into the significant level, because this is our first line of defense for price to bounce off, giving us a continuation move to the upside. But we also have to be extra careful, because the only time when this setup is invalidated is that when we have a strong candle closing out of that zone. Then we're gonna wait for price to touch to go and retest that zone. Let me change the color. Retest that zone, and then we're gonna look for selling opportunities to the next significant level. So, but my take on gold is that it's not yet a good time to buy. Just wait for price to reach into this significant level, touching this trend line, and then we're gonna wait for price to break out of this trend line right there. So after the trend line, we're gonna look for price. We're gonna look for our confirmation candles or pattern, whatever you want to look at. And then we're gonna look for targeting the 5,000 level for the first quarter. So that's my take. So whenever the time this setup will be invalidated is that if we have a strong candle closing out of this significant zone, then you're going to look for selling opportunity to this next significant level. And then because then you can look for buying opportunities until this external high. So this is going to be our next target if this zone is invalidated, to look for buying opportunities. But the reason why I'm looking at this level right here is that we can see where this is rally, base, rally. This rally, base, rally, base, rally, and then we had a significant drop. Now we have this base that is currently being generated, or let's say accumulation phase, and then you can see another, hopefully a manipulation phase, and then we can see a distribution phase to the upside. So we have this drop, accumulation, hopefully we can see another drop to the downside to this base right here, and then we can hopefully see, look at our confirmation rejection candles. For your own confirmation, it depends now what confirmations are you looking at. Are you looking at rejecting candles? Are you looking for a choke happening right there to take your buys to the upside? But this is my first line of defense for price to move to the upside, because it's near 50% level. It's back into our dealing range. So this is my take, guys. So yeah, this is my take. So this is my take on gold. So if you find this video analysis interesting, please leave a like and a comment. I want to hear what is your take on gold. Do you feel gold is going to invalidate the setup, targeting this liquidity to the downside, or do you believe gold's gonna retest from this area and push to the upside? So thanks guys, I'm out.